Uh-uh.
Oh, there we are officially starting. Are both your ears pierced?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the Pum Pum Posse. This is another segment. Oops. This microphone is tripping me out because it picks up everything. So this is another episode of the Pum Pum Chronicles. I am, of course, AJ Badass Jones, and today I have a dope special guest with me. I have with me Paco, better known as Blk Paco, from We Got the Drawers, We Get the Drawers, We Get and We Got the Drawers. It's both.
Yes, we got the draws. Yep, the podcast.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome and thank you so much for being here with me. Tell everybody who you are and tell everybody what you're about and all that good jazz.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, and you look amazing. I said that already.
Yeah. The lighting.
I've been podcasting about 4 years. I've been a part of several different shows and projects. You can hashtag Blk Paco at Blk Paco. You can kind of figure out what I've been doing for the last couple of years, on Twitter and Instagram. Other than that, man, I'm just a single black father of two, and I just enjoy life, and I try to take things not too serious,
right? Okay.
The current podcast that I'm a part of now is We Got the Draws podcast,
yes.
And you can find us on all your social sites and podcast app platforms, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much it.
So I know you do that podcast with Penrose Eames.
Penrose, shout out to Penrose, my bad.
Right?
Yep.
No worries. So tell me kind of like generally what is the basis of the podcast? Like, because I listened to your last episode, you guys are hilarious as fuck. Like, right. Seriously. And I like the fact that you have like really differing, because sometimes like when you're like-minded with someone, you have the same sort of opinions and the same sort of like thought process, but it's interesting listening to the two of you banter because you have a lot of the same thought process, but then you have like really vastly different opinions as well about things, and it's pretty funny.
We realized that like a year in, like, we thought we were kind of like just like the same type of person, but in reality, we like night and day.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But it works though. Like we kind of like Pinky in the Brain. You know what I'm saying? I would be Pinky. He he use all the big words.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I just come in with my little jokes, and it works. You know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah, the dynamic definitely works. But what is the premise of your podcast?
Okay, We Got the Draws. Okay, so a lot of people think it's sexual, which it could be.
Right.
But we kind of relate getting the draws as in like an award or success. Speaking of, hey, you got a promotion at work this week. You got the draws.
The draws. All right.
So,
okay, I like
that's the simplest way I can put it. You know what I mean? But it can get complex. Whatever you make it to be.
Right. It's a dope metaphor though. I like that. Yeah, it's a dope metaphor.
It's a trophy anytime a woman lets you into her body, right? You know what I mean? Like,
I would like to think so.
Yeah. That's a prize. That's
Is
a
it?
So that's where it came from, pretty much.
So a few days ago, you and I had a really brief discussion about let me see if I got this right. A young lady that that you're interested in being the first man to make her come because she thinks that her pussy is disabled. Is that right?
Right. This is a past situation, what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
so when we had that sort of brief discussion, I looked up because I had someone I follow had discussed before. It was just, I don't know, it seemed like a kind of stupid point that he made, but I kind of got where he was going with it. And he was bantering and arguing with this person in his feed saying that women can have erectile dysfunction. And then he went on to say, well, the clit really is just a miniature penis and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, no, women can't have erectile dysfunction because we don't have dicks. But there must be something, like I got the point of what it was that he was trying to say. It was more like a sexual dysfunction where they weren't able to come or they weren't able to achieve orgasm and yada yada yada. So I did some research and I looked it up, and it is called female sexual dysfunction, which is the female version of erectile dysfunction, and it's something that affects 43% of women and can be a result of physical and psychological problems. So let me ask you, your past situation, this person that you're talking about, did you get to a point of helping her achieve orgasm?
You know, to be honest with you, she faked on me. Okay.
What do you mean?
Like it was I'll put it like this. So it was like a problem, right? Like because if you can't please the person that you're laying down with, you know, it becomes you know, it becomes a problem for a man that loves to please his partner.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when she told me that, yo, I can't do this, you know, she actually said that my vagina is disabled. You know what I mean? So her vagina was in a wheelchair. No,
what is wrong with you?
I don't know. All right, let me stop.
Sorry. Now I feel like I have to draw a caricature of a pussy in a wheelchair, like straight up. Oh God.
Yeah, the pussy was in the blue space. All right. Anyway, all right, I'm done. All right, so that it was a problem. You know what I mean? And I guess we tried to kind of like help it, like because it was like, yo, what can we do? What?
Right.
She didn't know. I didn't know. You know, and I think she kind of just faked it for me, and then she told me that that she did. You know what I mean? And which
like
I'm not
orgasm.
Yes.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It was that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you licking it, and then your tongue feel like cardboard after a while, or like, you know.
I can't.
It just, you know, I seen something the other day, and it was so true. It was another podcaster posted. And he said, "You ever get so tired of licking the click that you had to lay on the thigh?" Yeah, you know, like, oh. Then you get tired, right? You like, Then you gotta lay on the other one, like you know.
So right. Okay.
Your neck get tired, tongue, neck. You know.
Okay, so I've always had a problem with sole focus on the clit. And it's been like an ongoing debate for years and years and years. So you have women who think that the clit should be the only focus. Like, there's no point in putting your tongue in the pussy. There's no point in fingering the pussy. There's no point in sucking the fat lips, the small lips. All you should do is find the clit and focus on the clit. And then you have women like myself who are a lot older and have been around the block a couple of times. I think that when you're eating pussy, in order to achieve the best results, you have to focus on the whole pussy. So of course the clit is important because that's where like the 8,000 nerve endings are, and you know that's where all the, you know, the hoopla happens. But there's so much more licking and sucking and enjoyment and pleasure within the inner lips and the outer lips, and you know, all that kind of stuff. There's a man that I know that he said that he can stroke the G-spot with his tongue if you create the right amount of suction and insert your tongue and cup upwards, like on the inner mound part. You can create an effect of like basically licking a woman's G-spot. Anyways, did you focus on her clit because that's what she wanted, or that's just the way that that's your style, let's say?
I would say that's my style. You know what I mean? But I don't know everything, you know, and I don't claim to know everything, especially when it, you know, women are so different and beautiful in their own right, individually, right? And you thinking something is going to work like this work on one girl, and then, you know what I mean? So it's just like you have your style, just like, yeah, nah, that may not work for her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I guess, you know, look, put it like this. this other girl I used to talk to told me that it was a dick sucking class in Chicago, right? And they, you know, they teach you how to do whatever to the penis, right? So I think it should be either a male or a woman that have a class that kind of can kind of break down the twats. You know what I mean? Twat teaching. You know, teaching the twat. You know.
I'm sorry. I'm tired. Excuse me. If I die during this recording, I'm coming to haunt you. I'm just letting you know that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so teaching how to tantalize the twat.
Yes.
Okay.
TTT.
Okay, and that's a class that you would attend? Do you think men would attend that class?
Man, if you care about your lady.
Right.
And I think women should send their men. Man.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm all about the pleasing. Because it's no benefit, no satisfaction to me unless you getting taken care of. You know what I'm saying?
So. Right. So penetration, did she come from penetration at all?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm that big. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that guy. Okay, right.
No, because like, you know, this is sort of like an age-old discussion as well. Like size doesn't necessarily determine whether or not a woman has an orgasm, right? Sure. I've been with men who are monsters and didn't have an orgasm because my body was gripped with fear and thinking that they were going to hurt me more than please me. And then I've been with men who were average size, like 5-6 inches, and have all kinds of orgasms back to back to back to back, right? I feel like part of it is the responsibility of the man for what he's doing in terms of his body and how well he knows his body. But then part of the responsibility definitely is the woman's, you know, lazy women. I'll say it, like, you have chicks that just want to lay on their back or be on their knees and not really do anything to help her achieve the orgasm. You also have women who know nothing about their bodies. Like, they don't know what their pleasure spots are. They don't know what their erogenous zones are. They don't even know what pleases them. They kind of leave it up to dude to figure it out and then make her come.
But where did that stem from? You know, I thought everybody, you know, played with their self, you know, coming out, you know.
I think, like, okay, so for me being from the Caribbean, like, it's changed a lot now, but for me being from, like, Jamaica and growing up in a very Jamaican household, you don't talk about sex. You definitely don't talk about masturbation. You don't talk about kissing. You don't talk about boys. You don't talk about girls. You don't talk about none of that shit. But the craziest thing is you've got little kids that are running around, you know, feeling on each other and kissing on each other and rubbing. My first experience with a boy was when I was, like, 9-10 years old. The first time I ever sucked dick, I was probably about 10. And it was just purely through experimentation and like, oh, what is this? You know, let's see what happens when we do this kind of thing. And it was just me and this boy that I knew, Owen, who was my boyfriend when I was 10. And he and I were doing the exploration thing. So the first time I had a boy, like somebody lick my vagina, I was like 10. And the first time I sucked dick, I was like 10. You know, I couldn't go to my mom and say, hey, do you know what I did today? You know what I mean? Because I would get beaten and I wasn't trying to have that happen. But I feel like in the Black community, especially, like, maybe not so much with men and that I'm not even sure, but for sure with women, those are conversations that you never have with anybody. Like, it's taboo. And it's generation to generation. And so it's like, you know, our mothers had babies because they knew that they were supposed to have sex. Their mothers had babies because they knew that they were supposed to have sex, but no one ever talked about pleasure. No one ever talked about the pleasure aspects or the pain aspects. It was just more like sex was a duty. If the man, it was something that the man wanted. I think even more times it wasn't even something that women initiated. Their responsibility was just kind of be there for their man and you know, do whatever it is that you do and give whatever it is that you give. I've been with a man who, honestly, like, the sex was boring as fuck and I just didn't have the patience to try to teach him anything different. And so me laying there, squeezing my vag muscles a couple of times, rubbing his back, within 5 minutes, he came. Every single time, without fail. To the point where it became boring for me and I just stopped having sex with him because I'm like, I'm not trying to live like this, like, with anybody for any reason. I think part of the problem is definitely that there are no like, have you ever had conversations with your kids about intimacy or the body?
I just tell them about, like, creeps. You know what I mean? Like, you know, hey,
Yeah,
You know
don't
what
let
I'm
anybody
saying?
touch you
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, right. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, especially with my daughter, like, her and my nieces and stuff like that. Like, I'll have conversation. Like, I'm a straightforward type person. Like, you know what
Right.
I mean? So you start using big words, I'm thinking you trying to hustle me. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm don't ti me.
Right.
But I'm the same way with my children. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing.
Right.
I'm gonna just tell you what it is and what these old nasty men be on. So I just tell them to watching the wearing the leggings and stuff like that. Because
Right.
men be just gross. You know what I mean? So,
But if there was
but
a conversation that had to be had with them about touching themselves, how would you go about having that conversation?
man, shit, man,
Because I'll tell you a story. Okay, so I'm a dirty
uh,
bird. I just am.
that's fine.
I've always had like vibrators. I've always had dildos. I've always kept dirty magazines.
You look like a shaker too, though. When you come, you shake.
I I shake. I cuss. I carry on. I bite. I scratch. I scream. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
all
love a
in.
good shaker. You know what I mean? I had a laugher before too. Every
A
time,
laugher?
yeah,
Shut up.
yeah,
See, that would scare me if somebody was
yeah.
laughing.
I thought she was like laughing at me. I'm like, girl, what's wrong with you? And every time I couldn't wait to get that chuckle because I knew it was right time for bed. You know what I'm saying? When I hear that chuckle, I just go to sleep because I'm like, I'm about to come. She laughed, and I could just roll over and go to sleep.
Do you ask her about that? Like why she laughs during?
Um, we had a conversation. It was just like it's just something that naturally happens for her.
Then that's a first. I've never heard of that before. That's definitely a first. Like I said, that would probably trip me out the first time. But then if you understand it and you know that that's the trigger or what's coming after the laugh or what's coming with the laugh, then yeah, you kind of go for that point. But I remember when my son was maybe like 11, 12, and I guess they were playing in my room and playing between the mattresses and doing what kids do, and they happened upon a dildo and some dirty magazine. And, when I went to go collect the dildo and the dirty magazine so I could have a session with myself, the magazines were gone. And in thinking about my kids who would have taken them, boys versus girls, I knew my son had taken them. And, we had a conversation about it because at that point it was necessary to, because, you realize that they're curious about whatever. And I always have concerns about people getting their hooks into your kids and telling your kids about sex before you have a chance to tell your kids about sex. And so it forced me to have a conversation with him about masturbation and about pleasure and what he was feeling and that kind of stuff. I think about myself at that age. If I'd found magazines on my mom's bed and I'd taken them, there would have been no conversation. I would have just got beaten. I would have just got beaten and that would have been the end of it. You know what I mean? So it's definitely lack of conversation with our kids, and then they grow up not really wanting to have conversation. It just becomes a generational sort of thing.
So what did you tell him? What did you say to your son?
I asked him if he had the magazines, and he said yes. And he kind of had like this sheepish, like, "Oh my gosh, am I in trouble?" And I looked at him. I said, "You're not in trouble." And I said, "Do you like them?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "What parts do you like?" And he's like, I like the girls. I like their boobs and I like their legs and that part that's in the middle." So I was like, "Okay." And I said, "And how does that make you feel?" And he's like, "It makes my penis feel tingly." And I said, "Okay." And he's like, "Am I in trouble?" I'm like, "No." And I said, use the magazines, touch yourself, do whatever it is that you need to do. When you're finished with them, just put them back. If you want to talk more about it, you can let me know. If it makes you uncomfortable, we can get your dad and you can talk to your dad about it. And he's like, "No, I'd rather talk to you about it." Cause like I'm a beatnik parent. I'm like that hippie parent that you could talk to about everything. Like I'm that parent that's sitting down butting a spliff with my kids. Like I'm that guy. So once he was done, like he would come and ask things from time to time. The first time he had a wet dream, he was completely freaked out by it. We had to have a conversation about that. But then it's crazy too, because, the first time he came and said to me, like, "Mom, how do I use a condom?" Not that he was having sex, he just wanted to know. I think he was like 13. So I called his dad. I'm like, "Here's a dildo. Here's a condom. you need to go show your son how to put this on, because I don't have a penis. I could show him, but it'd be better from, like man to man for him to understand the inner workings of his bodies. But you also need to talk to him about masturbation and pleasure and all these kind of things. So for me, like, it was a long time ago, I had decided that I'm not going to be the parent that my parents and my grandparents were, because I didn't want that kind of shit to continue. I wanted my kids to be aware and self-aware. And so I had to put away my discomfort and just kind of like, think differently about the whole thing.
Yeah, I got you. I don't know. My daughter actually been kind of coming to me more about certain things.
Good.
She's 12, and like she's starting to like boys, and a little boy hurt her feelings already. You know what I mean? So
let's go beat him.
Yeah. I just like, I guess some other girl, he started liking another girl or something like that, and it kind of broke her little heart. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to keep those. I normally come off the top rope,
Right.
but I just actually listen to her. You know what I mean? And I just let her know that I'm here and I'm not going to judge her. And I told her, I've been 13 before, you know what I mean? Like, I've been 12 before, like, so I know. And that's crazy though, because I had wet dreams like your son, and I had, but still, it's like, me and my son, we don't talk like that. You know what I mean? Like, well, not as of yet. So, hopefully it had come to me, when that time is right,
Were those conversations that you had with the elders in your family about sex or masturbation and stuff like that, or self-pleasure?
No. I mean, I always used to take my sister's J.C. Penney's magazines. You know what I mean? Because they had come in the mail.
Right.
This was before like Pink and all that other little cute stuff. Yes. Now, you know what I mean? So they had a little bra section. You know what I mean? Right. And them pages still probably sticking together. Did my magazine come? I ain't seen it. You know what I mean? So,
you see, like the JCPenney or the Sears catalog, those were like the first soft porn, the first soft porn, right? You flip to the slips and the lingerie section, and it's on and popping. That's hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So statistically speaking, female dysfunction, so I'm just going to read this for the sake of reading it. It can be a result of physical or psychological problems. Many physical and or medical conditions can cause female sexual dysfunction, which can include diabetes, heart disease, hormonal imbalances. That one I can definitely attest to. Menopause, liver failure, alcoholism, and drug abuse. And certain medications. There's also psychological causes, which seem to me to make more kind of sense, and they can include stress, anxiety, concern about their sexual performance, concerns about their physical appearance, their body, going through depression, feelings of guilt, and of course, past traumas and that kind of stuff. I think as we get older, so I feel like the world is so much more open now about sex and sexuality than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We have access to so much information about sex and intimacy and porn, and access to therapists and sex therapists and all kinds of stuff. But I feel like a large part of it is still the embarrassment of not being able to just perform normally, where I think that people are forgetting that there isn't really any such thing as being able to perform normally. Because if you remember, like, I'm a lot older than you are, right? So when I was a teenager, you were still like, you were a young man. We'll just say that. So I'm thinking, like, when I was a teenager, if you sucked dick, you were a freak. You were nasty and you were dirty. If you ate pussy, you were a freak and you were nasty and dirty. And those were like big taboo things. Now, sucking dick and eating pussy are kind of like par for the course. It's like, it's the precursor to having good sex. And there aren't a lot of people left on the planet who don't suck dick or eat pussy. You know what I mean? So things have evolved sexually with people. So I feel like as women, I think that we think that we're just supposed to naturally be able to please. Like, have you ever had a woman suck your dick that didn't know what she was doing?
Yeah.
And what did you do about it?
I just let her keep going. You know.
You give her any instructions or any sort of guidance about what you like?
Normally they are trained before they get to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, normally, what? Who didn't train you? You know what I'm saying? Like, but listen, the only thing that can't listen, I can get off on any type of head.
Really?
The only head I don't like is teeth. Don't
Right.
Don't bite my shit. You know what I mean? Nibble or nothing. Listen, anything. Listen, I can. I'm that person.
Nibble on the dick.
Right. Correct. I can honestly, I can get off on head. Like, just give me some head. Okay, I've had good head. I've had really good head, and then I had bad head. You know what I'm saying? So I know the difference. But if I need to get to the mountaintop, I will. You know what I mean? So, you know. And then if they will have to ask, like, what do I need to do different? I'll tell them. You know what I mean?
So if they ask you, tell them, but you won't tell them otherwise?
It depends. You know, if I'm in a relationship with them, yeah, I would tell them. But if it was just like random, you know, hey, do your thing, baby. You know, whatever.
Okay. See, and I feel like that's okay, and I get it. Like, you're not going to invest in trying to correct the person or help the person be better, especially if it's not like your girl or she's not like a mainstay or like a regular
teacher. Somebody a teacher. Right. Somebody got that, you know?
Right. I remember years ago I had an experience with this guy who he just couldn't eat pussy. Let's just say it straight. And you know, so I went to go visit him on my lunch break, and this is how dry it was. I didn't take my clothes off. I lifted up my skirt, stepped out of my panties, sat on a chair, and leaned back because I thought to myself, for all his talk and all his bravado, this probably isn't going to be good, because usually if somebody is good at something, they don't need to hype up themselves, right?
You're right.
And so I'm laying there thinking to myself, like, this can't be it. And I stopped him. I'm like, I gotta go back to work. He's like, no, I'm not finished. I'm like, yeah, we're done. Yeah. And he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm good. He's like, no, I could do better. I'm like, have you ever eaten pussy before? He said, no. I was the first person. And I thought to myself, so I'm of two minds. Be patient with him and teach him. But then I'm like, you're not my fucking man. What am I teaching you anything at all for?
Right.
And I said to him, watch a porno.
Yeah, you got to think about your experience too, though. So it's like your experience is probably going to foresee somebody else's. You know what I mean? Because and I was the same way. Like you said, 10. I was like kindergarten humping. Like, you think it's like right. I'm this is playing doctor. I knew what that area was. Yes. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is, we wasn't even allowed to watch certain TV shows and movies. Yes. I never walked in the room with my parents having sex. Nothing like that. So I just naturally had a thing for women. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that it came at like the age of 5 or 6 years old. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
How do you perfect your craft over time? How have you perfected your craft over time? So, okay, so let's take the example of the woman who says that her vagina is disabled, her pussy's in a wheelchair, versus, you know, okay, so you use that experience and you say to yourself, like, I'm not able to make this woman come. These are the techniques that I've used. Do you then, with the next woman that you're with, use the techniques that you used before? Like, do you attack it in a completely different way? Like, do you say to yourself, okay, well, I focus solely on the clit with her, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do, let me change it up? Or do you just keep doing what you always do?
Right. So, you know, I'm a head to toe type of guy, you know what I'm saying? Depending on the mood, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like to start at the toe, you know what I'm saying, and work my way up, you know what I mean? So it's, you know, I try to send a couple messages too, like, you know, be ready at 6:30. Okay. For my tongue, you know what I mean? Real romantic, you know, real romantic. Are you ready for tongue 30? You know?
Excuse me. Megan, please stop trying to kill me.
Tongue 45. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, like, all right. It's tongue o'clock, you know. But anyway, so I try to kind of, if I know, if I know I'm we linking up that day, that night, I'm gonna plant the seed probably all week long to try to be like, yo, you gonna be ready for this.
Get this
You know
work.
what I'm saying?
You gonna get this.
Right. So I don't know. Like I don't know if I'm the same way with everybody else, but I do know, like, when I'm inside of a woman, like, I try to, if it's feeling good to me, I want it to feel the same with her. You know what I mean? So I kind of want that magic to be with both of us. You know what I mean? So I don't. When you go into it being selfish, you know what I mean, and just worried about yourself. Because even like with Homegirl, you know, it still was dope sex. It still was a good time, and I don't think, you know, she was lying about that, but it was still a good time. But she said she had this problem with everybody, so it wasn't just me. You know what I mean? So
what makes it a good time? Like, if she's not, because I always feel, and maybe I'm thinking about it wrong, but I always feel like, you know, the ultimate end goal of having sex and intimacy, sorry, let's say having sex, because I feel like intimacy is something different, but the ultimate end goal should be orgasm. So how does she equate? I don't know if you ever asked her, but how does she equate?
I've asked her, and I said, so what is it then? You know what I mean? And she was just like, yo, you stimulate my mental. You know what I mean? It's still some mental stimulation there that she's crazy about, and she said that the sex is still good, but the orgasm isn't my fault. You know what I mean? It's something that it's an internal issue, and maybe it could be one of the things that you listed. You know what I mean? So, you know,
does she masturbate? Does she play with herself at all? Do you know?
That's a good question.
Because I always have this theory with women who use vibrators versus women who use dildos. And I always preach, use a dildo, not a vibrator. Because women trigger and trick their bodies into thinking that dick is supposed to vibrate. You know what I mean? Because when you have that, mind you, you've never used a vibrator, so I know you're not going to know. But when you use a vibrator, it's vibrating inside of you. It's vibrating against your G spot. It's vibrating against your clit. And I don't care how talented he is, there is no dick on the planet that vibrates. You may get dick that pulses. It may oscillate a little bit. It may do one or two tricks depending on how talented they are and their muscle control. But dick just doesn't naturally vibrate. And if you've trained your pussy to come on command from a vibrating sensation, how would you expect a man to make you orgasm when his dick doesn't vibrate?
So it's unfair.
It is unfair. And I say to women all the time, use a dildo. If it's about the girth, it's about the size, it's about the pliability, it's about the firmness, it's about whatever, at least it's more similar to an actual dick than a vibrator that vibrates. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or if you're going to use something on your clit, use something that creates a sucking, licking motion versus a vibrating motion. I feel like vibrators trick our pussies into thinking that that's the way that a tongue is supposed to feel against us, and that's the way that dick is supposed to feel inside of us. And it just isn't the case. And then you're fighting an uphill battle because now you want to be intimate with your man and you can't achieve orgasm. You know, and it's pleasurable and all that sort of stuff. But when he's done and he's finished nutted, now you have to go break out, you know, the Aggressor 3000 to put it into your pussy so that you can come.
Right. I think I'm listen, I'm not a jealous guy with the vibrator. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, if you want to add something, including me, you know, I'm not going to take offense to that. You know what I mean?
But includes you. That's the difference that you said. That includes you.
Right. But when I did include it, like the orgasm that the person had was more aggressive. You know what I mean? It was like times 2. You know what I mean? So I wasn't mad at that at all. You know what I mean? And I don't know if she was telling me that she wanted another dick added to the party, but I won't be invited to that party. You know, I won't be coming there. You know,
right?
But You know what I mean? Maybe that's something in, in her world. But with that young lady, it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I don't know about homegirl. I don't know if she just, there's a lot of people that's old school. Are you old school where your fingers is good too? Or you prefer?
I like everything.
You like everything.
I do. You know why? Because I had to get to a point of it, like really and truly investing in my pleasure and investing in being amazing at giving pleasure. Because I thought at some point, I don't want to have mediocre sex. Even if it's just like a quick thing, even if it's we're going to, fuck once or twice, even if it is we've decided we're going to fuck once, I want the experience to be like, damn. I want it to be like damn for you. I want it to be like damn for me, because otherwise I feel like I'm wasting my time. I have learned to, like, even with masturbating, I've learned to make myself come in under 5 minutes. And if I really want to push it and prolong it, I can hold out for like 5 minutes. And even that's difficult for me to do because I've learned my body so well that I know exactly where to go and what to press. And I don't have to even insert fingers in any way, shape, or form. Like, that's how well I've learned my body. But I've also made a point of making it a point of interest to learn myself. When I'm with somebody, it's the same sort of thing. Like, if you and I are fucking for the first time, as I'm kissing on you and I'm touching you, I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm listening to your bodily responses, but I'm also asking you questions along the way, because my goal is to have you properly fucked up when I leave and be jonesing for Jones. You understand? It's not just about, okay, well, I'm going to come lay up in your bed and, maybe it'll be a hit or miss. Maybe I'll suck your dick okay enough for you to get aroused and, maybe you'll get like a really great orgasm and I'll come once or twice. That's never my goal. My goal is to have great sex all the time.
Right. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
You look concerned. The look on your face is like,
no, I'm not. I've heard worse. Listen, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that. So, my whole thing is, do the sex drive gets worse? Because I'm like, I'm pushing 40. It'll go down. Like the drive will go. No, it's not. I want to go every day. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Depending on how much mental, like, stress or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I can go every day still. You know what I mean? And so I'll just want to know, do that die down? You know what I mean? Or do the thoughts still stay the same? Everything else is not working with it.
For me personally, I don't think that.
What?
For me, it hasn't. Like, it's gotten worse as I've gotten older, and I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40. Okay. And, I feel like it's just going to continue to be that way for a really long time. I watched a video today that somebody posted on Instagram of an old couple fucking. The woman was riding him, and they had to be at least 70. And I'm thinking to myself, that's going to be me. I want that to be me. I don't want to be like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so you've hit menopause, your body's kind of faded into obscurity. Things are hanging, things are wrinkly, things are not, as visually sexy as they were before. But then I'm fucking a man who is my age, so our bodies kind of look the same. But I want to be able to hop on that dick and have a good time and ride and give you an orgasm and have a couple still, hopefully a couple, 1, 2, maybe 3. But I don't feel like it's kind of a weird thing. I feel like because we're so much more self-aware and because we have so much more access to information and visual stimulation, the world of sex has definitely changed, and people's openness and people's willingness and people's desires have changed along with that as well. I feel like before it was so taboo talking about sex, and it was so taboo just sort of anything that was sexually related. It's like people suppress their own desires, but because now it's okay to fuck whenever, wherever, with whatever, and with whomever, and things like BDSM are in play, and things like, doms and subs and the lifestyle and swinging and all this sort of stuff is in play, people have kind of thrown caution to the wind, and they're not as reserved with what their desires are anymore. And so I feel like mentally people are going to keep going for longer than they would have before, where they would tell themselves, okay, when I'm 50, I have to stop fucking because then I'm old and I just shouldn't be doing it.
Right. I got you. Nah, I still want to be getting it in with grandma, you know?
Oh dear.
I do. Like, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So what was the end result of the situation with this young lady? Did you completely stop having sex with her?
Yes. Yep.
Why?
Just, people grow apart, things
Okay.
change, you
Okay.
know. Yeah. But
Um,
it was just bothering me, like I said, So your advice is try something different. Keep
it
trying.
definitely it is like it's when you're invested with the person. I know that your level of motivation will be different, obviously, than if it's somebody that you're just kind of like a 1-2 hit kind of thing. But if it is somebody that you're invested in the relationship and invested in your sexual growth with the person, you definitely have to try different things. I find that people are still like, men seem to have more so still reservations, definitely not you, and I think you're awesome for it, but a lot of men still have reservations about using toys in the bedroom with their woman because for some reason they feel like it's a competition when it's not. If you know that she has a vibrator or you know that she has a dildo, use it with her on herself. You know what I mean? If that's the thing that helps to stimulate her, even if it is, so you're using the vibrator, you're stroking her into an orgasm at the point where she's about to come, pull the vibrator out and stick your dick in her and continue to stroke her with your dick to help her get over the edge, right?
That
Even if it's a
sounds good. That
right.
sounds
So
real good.
even if it's a test to see whether or not the orgasm stops the moment that you penetrate her, or you've pushed her enough to the point where it's coming and it keeps coming, then that's something that you add to your repertoire. You know what I mean? But like I said, part of the problem is they have to take their fear or they're feeling like it's a competition. You have to take that out of it because it's not about that. It's about helping her to achieve great orgasms. Because I mean, for most guys, there aren't too many guys that can't come from either head, being jerked off, or actual penetration. You know what I mean? So the man is less of the concern, unless of course he has erectile dysfunction, and then that's a whole other discussion altogether. But if it's something where you're invested in her pleasure, add things to your repertoire, switch it up. If focusing on her clit to the point where you're getting dry tongue and dry mouth isn't working, try sucking on the rest of her pussy. You know what I mean? Stimulate her, finger her, lick, around, massage. There's so many different pressure points and areas on the body that you can stimulate in order to help arouse her. Does she like biting? Does she like firm sucking? Does she like firm massage? Does she like nipple play? Does she like whatever it is? It's about exploration. It's about introducing different things into your sexual engagement and your sexual play with her in order to help her.
I think what you saying all that, I think you have to just take time with the pussy. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Say that again. Say that again.
Take time with it. You know what I mean? Because I had an ex-girlfriend, and she you couldn't touch her nipples at certain times of the month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very sensitive. Oh, it's okay at the end of the month, but not at, you know what I mean? So it's
Right.
just, so you take the time with it, and you actually got to learn a person's body. Um, I think the young lady she was out. It was long distance too, though. So I
Right.
didn't, the times that we did share with each other. You know what I mean? I think that, um, I think it could have, I could have cracked that code
You had more time.
if I had more time. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
So, but still enjoyable on my accord and hers. So I'll take it.
Okay. Um, so in future, if you were to get into a relationship or a situationship or fuckship with someone who, says to you, I have issues coming or I have difficulty coming, what do you think your strategies would be at this point after having this conversation?
Um, Try something different. You know, just keep trying something. I think if somebody told me that that's my goal, you know what I mean, and then, like, if I don't reach my goal, then I kind of am disappointed.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, just try something different. Like, and actually, I actually enjoy women playing with her. I actually love watching women play with themselves. You know what I mean? Right. So sometimes I just lay across the bed. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching TV. You know, with my legs kicked out. You know what I mean? Like Saturday morning cartoons. You know, and just let her do her thing. And then I've even like with well, a couple people actually, where it's just like, yo, get your toy. I want to see where to put it. Right. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Okay, that's fair.
I guess just try to keep incorporating different things into the situation. You know what I mean? So
right. Well, I was gonna say what I had said to you about like if they have them use their toy and allow them to get themselves to the point of being ready to orgasm, and then take the toy out and you insert said penis. And right. Yeah, I think that would be kind of neat. I feel like I need to, well, I don't have that like sort of difficulty, but kind of on a whole, I think that actually would be kind of like a cool practice to stimulate yourself. He's watching you. Of course, his dick is hard. He's probably laying there stroking his dick, watching you get to the point where you're about to come, and then he, you know, you guys switch off. It's like, you know, passing a football or rugby.
I got you.
Or like the baton when you're, what is it called? The 4x4 relay race?
Yeah, right.
You're handing out the baton. Okay.
Yeah. So I think I was dead serious about that class.
Yes.
You know, the twat teacher. Okay. But I think we should have real. We should have real models. We need real models. You know what I mean? So right. Like people in the audience got to be real grown about things, right? You know what I mean? So we need a bed there. Or, listen, I've done this too. Like, I've licked a vagina in the drive-thru. You know what I'm saying? While she was driving. You know what I mean? Just, oh yeah, lift your leg up, baby. You know what I'm saying? So I think.
This is me asking a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. You licked the vagina in the drive-thru?
Yeah.
She was driving?
Yeah. Hello, Mel, take your order. You know.
What is wrong with you?
Listen, if women can give us a, like, yo, so if you coming to pick me up, like, yo, don't wear no drawers, wear a skirt. I got you. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. You know, if we can,
I don't be afraid to crash. That's the only thing that's gonna happen. Is I'm gonna crash.
I've been on the freeway. I've gotten head on the freeway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, stuff. You know, men get satisfied. Why can't I lift your leg up and?
Because we kind of need our legs to drive. What do you mean? Why can't you lift my leg up?
No, not while you're driving, but drive through. You know what I mean? Pull over to the side of the road somewhere, a rest area. Okay. You know?
All right. Yeah, you know, keep it funky and exciting. I could definitely see that. If we're going through a drive-through and you're like, babe, lift your leg, we're blocking the drive-through. There's no driving. We're stopping and backing up traffic because we're not going anywhere.
No, you got to keep, you know, just ease off of the brake, you know?
Yeah, no, we're straight crashing into something. We're either crashing into the sign, we're crashing into the car in front of us, we're crashing into the building. Some shit's going to happen. There's going to be some sort of crashing happening. Yeah. But I think that you and we need to have further discussions about, I don't know about the live demo though, because I'm not sure how that would go. But I feel like if we got everyone to invest in, you know, like the tabletop asses that have the pussy. So if we could figure out how to get like a tabletop pussy that's like spongy and squishy and feels like flesh, like the dolls, but not the dolls. You know, they've got like the half ass where you could, anyhow,
yeah, or something like they sell them at the adult stores. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. So we could get, you know, you charge a fee where everybody gets a brand new one. That's what they pay for. They're paying for the class that's sitting down on the desk, and then you actually have. We're not going to talk about this because we're going to give away our secrets about what we're going to do. But we need to have a conversation about that class.
Hell yeah!
I like that idea. I definitely like because
I'm gonna go buy one of them tonight. You know what I'm saying?
You see what I started?
It's Friday night and I just got paid, you know?
Oh my God. But you know what? Like, I think that it's something that actually would be really viable. I feel like, as like I said, as we get older, people are more invested in their pleasure, and because we have so much more access to stuff and people don't feel it's as taboo talking about certain subjects, people are definitely paying more attention and wanting more from their sexual experiences, and I think that's a great thing. So excuse me, the end of this cold is trying to kill me. So I want to put you in an uncomfortable position for a couple of minutes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a surprise attack. We're gonna do so on the Pum Pum Chronicles. I've been doing a thing lately called the hot seat. So the full version of the hot seat is you have 5 minutes to answer 30 questions, and embedded in the questions are some riddles. If you're not able to answer all 30 questions within 5 minutes, you have to sing me a song. But if you're able to answer all the questions within the allotted time, then you can either have me sing a song or you can ask me any one question that you want to ask me. But I'm not going to torture you with all 30. I am just going to give you 10 questions, rapid fire questions, and you just answer them without thinking. Okay?
Oh, shit.
Do you need another sip? You okay? Yep, take another sip. They're easy. It's just questions about you and what you like. Okay? Okay. So, question number 1. What's your number 1 relationship pet peeve?
Squeezing a toothpaste from the middle.
Okay. That's a different one. What rule did you hate following as a kid but would make your own kids follow?
Ah, shit. Cussing around adults.
Okay. Your mother comes home with your best friend and tells you that they're dating now. What's your next move?
All right. I don't know. Okay. That's weird.
Are you more like Batman or more like the Joker, and why?
I don't know. Joker.
Okay. Why?
I play a lot.
Okay.
Sometimes too much.
If you could change.
When people stop laughing, I still laugh. So yeah, definitely the Joker.
Yeah, then that becomes that crazy, weird, hysterical, psychotic kind of laugh.
Yeah.
Joker. Yeah. Okay. If you could change one physical characteristic about yourself, what would it be?
My teeth.
What's wrong with your teeth?
No, I don't like my bottom row of teeth. You know what I mean? My top row is cool. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't really like my bottom row. Yeah.
Okay. What's the first physical characteristic that draws your attention when looking at a woman?
Legs.
Okay. High sex, tipsy sex, or sober sex?
Man, the right balance of high and drunk.
Okay.
Go all night, baby. You know what I'm saying?
All right. If you had to choose between $100 cash or a 1-hour hall pass with someone you have a crush on, which would you choose?
Give me the hall pass.
Okay. What is a kink that you've always wanted to try but have yet to?
Threesome.
Okay. Is that really a kink, though?
I don't know. To me, it is. Because I never had it.
Okay. And the last question, if you had to choose between doing a striptease in front of 20 women in a home for the elderly or running through an empty stadium but naked, which would you choose?
Striptease in front of the elderly women.
Very pervert.
Yeah. Hi, come give it to me, baby.
Oh my goodness. We're going to have Miss Agatha sitting there having a heart attack. Sorry. Oh my goodness me. So that's it for us. Of course, if anybody is interested in doing more research on the female version of erectile dysfunction, it's actually called Female Sexual Dysfunction. You can Google it. There's a lot of research and information about it on there. There's educational tips and tools in how to help someone, enhancing stimulation, providing distraction techniques. If you are a woman who's experiencing sexual female dysfunction, there's a lot of information on the market that's out there for you. The best thing to do is probably to talk to your physician if you have one. If not, there are a lot of therapists and counselors that are out there that are available to help. It also helps having somebody who's patient, like Mr. Blk Paco, in helping with the situation and, you know, being with somebody who's invested in it. But you have to also talk to your partner. You know, you can't just kind of brush it to the wayside and pretend like it's something that's not happening, because there's no point to having boring sex and then you're more stressed and frustrated about the fact that you can't achieve orgasm. So I don't know if there's anything else that you want to say on the subject.
No, that's it, man. You know, that's it.
Okay. So, Mr. Paco, thank you for having this discussion with me. I appreciate you just even letting me into your life a little bit and sort of just broaching the subject with me about your experience with the young lady. So that's pretty dope. I appreciate you for that.
We could talk about sex all day, every day. You know what I'm saying?
We definitely have to come back and have another conversation about something related to sex. And you and I are going to have discussions about figuring out how the hell we're going to do this class in 2020 and make some motherfucking money. Absolutely. So tell everybody again where they can find you, what your social media handles are, and of course about your dope podcast.
Okay. All right. Well, you can find me at Blk Paco, Blk Paco, and that's on all social media. You can also find my partner, Penrose Eames. Follow him on his social sites at Penrose or Penrose Eames. What else? My event. Our event.
Yes.
Yeah. Me and Penrose, Paco and Penrose presents Smoke Free Weekend. That's in Las Vegas. You need to come. You do.
I do need to come.
You need to come.
That might be problematic.
Yeah. You need to come, and we're gonna have some dials on deck. You know what I'm saying? You know, we could do something. We could do some things.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So pull up, you know, April 16th through the 20th.
Okay.
Las Vegas. If y'all need me to plan y'all trip out financially, I will. I'll, not pay for it. Not pay for it.
Just help you plan it.
Just help you plan it. Budget it. Yo, whatever. Yo, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Because I do this. You know what I mean? But I really...
Where's the information for the Smoke Free Weekend event?
Sorry. That's Eventbrite. Eventbrite.com. You know what I'm saying? Go to Eventbrite.com and type in Smoke Free Weekend. You know what I mean? Or the link is on my Twitter page or on my Instagram page.
Perfect. Okay.
And also we have a show page. It's called Paco and Penrose Presents. That's on Instagram. And the link is on that page as well.
Perfect.
So, and it's for all podcasters, all fans of podcasters, family, over 21. Don't bring no babies in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make babies, not hear them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't nobody want to hear your baby.
Yes.
You know. Anyway, I don't know who bringing their baby to Las Vegas though.
Well, no. I mean, you have to understand too. Like, you can't bring someone who's 18, 19, or 20. You have to be 21 in order to attend this event.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you for having me, yo. This is beautiful.
I appreciate you being here. You are my first guest of the year.
I'm gonna have to pull up on you.
Listen to me. You know what? I'm in Toronto. Come see me when the weather's better.
That's my spot.
Not during the winter.
Listen, do you remember? I'm gonna tell you how long I've been going to Toronto, coming to Toronto, real quick.
Okay.
Do you remember a nightclub called The Inside? It had 3 floors. It was Vince Carter's.
Yes.
His nightclub.
Yes.
Right? And I'm going to tell you, this was like 2003. Okay?
So that's going way back.
Yeah. That was 2003. And guess what? That was the first year I ever had jerk chicken. And I fell in love with it. Like, I'm dead serious. And guess what? I got the jerk chicken after we left the club.
Yes.
And they sold the food out of the back of a Chevy Astro van. And they had it was like a little alley and all these vendors.
Yep.
The best
they
food.
They still do that. Absolutely.
The best food I ever fucking had after the club. You know what I mean? So
we have the greatest, like, if you're looking for some good West Indian food after a party here in Toronto, we've got the best. Like, they set up shop and wait for people to come outside. Yeah. You can get, like you said, jerk chicken, oxtail, rice and peas, curry goat soup, like all hours of the morning. And it's the best too, because if you've been in the club and you've been drinking and you come outside and you get yourself like a little soup and then get some jerk chicken and rice and peas, shit. Yeah, that's just great. Then if you have somebody to go home with, and then it's a wonderful experience. It's a wonderful experience.
Rice, peas, and pussy. Yep.
That's going to be the name of this episode. Rice and peas and pussy. See that? All right. That's the title of this episode. Absolutely.
Right,
Well, I am your host, AJ Badass Jones. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the first episode of the year with my guest, Blk Paco. You can find me on my social media, the Pum Pum Chronicles podcast on Instagram. My personal page is badass_Jones_, of course. I'm on Twitter, the TPP Chronicles, and also have a YouTube channel, the Pum Pum Chronicles pod. If you are interested in being a guest, if you wanted to submit questions or anything else of that nature, you can email me at thepumpumchronicles@gmail.com. And that's it. Thank you to the Pum Pum Posse for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. So we'll catch you next week.
Thanks.